Welcome to the Education Marketing Leader podcast with Chris Rapozo. If you're looking to dive into the latest industry insights, draw inspiration from education success stories, or just want to sharpen your marketing skills, you're in the right place. Here, we bring you a diverse range of voices from experts and leaders in the field, offering you a unique blend of professional development and practical strategies. Whether you want to understand your audience better, stay updated with the latest tech trends in marketing, or expand your professional network, we've got you covered. So while you're driving on your morning commute or winding down after a busy day, let's explore the dynamic world of education marketing together.
Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Education Marketing Leader with Chris Rapozo. Today my guest is joining me from the hot state of Arizona. His name is Luis Landeros and he is the Creative Director and Instructor at Arizona Western College. Luis, welcome to the show.
Hey Chris, thank you so much for having me. First time doing this kind of thing, so let's see how it goes.
It's going to be great. So Luis came highly recommended from our NCMPR colleague, Jeff Ebbing. I ran along the Mississippi River with him a couple of months ago at NCMPR National Conference, and I told him about Luis and how I tried to get him on the show. And he's told me to keep pursuing because he's going to have a lot of great stuff to share. So today we're talking about building campus pride through visual storytelling. And if you haven't followed Luis on LinkedIn yet, do so. He's sharing a lot of good video tips as well as photography tips. Really great stuff for him. But Luis, you're a former AWC student, now leading the creative direction of the college. Tell me a little bit about that feeling there. How did that full circle journey shape your approach to storytelling and branding for AWC?
Of course. So my path is not as straight as it sounds. It's not like a super short, straightforward. It's always like going back and forth. And this is kind of weird because when I was younger, I was a high school dropout. I dropped out of school. I hated school so much. All the thing that I wanted to do is create art, and I actually started creating T-shirts, stickers, even covers for mixtapes, like for the cassettes and then CDs. Back then, I'm gonna show my age with this. That's everything that I like to do. So I dropped out of high school and I started doing that without even realizing that was graphic design and that was a career, right? So when I dropped out of high school, later, somehow I started working on a small print shop in my hometown in Mexico. And that's when I started learning about graphic design. And over the years, I worked in different places over there in my hometown. So I jumped in different places. And then I was getting a little bit better at it, trying things on my own, figuring out things, copying styles, and then applying my own style to it. And at some point, I couldn't move on to better positions. I got stuck. And that's where I started thinking. And my sister, my older sister, she said that I needed to get my education going on again. So she pushed me to get my GD, and I thought that was it. But she pushed me even more to get my college degree. So she helped me, went to college, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. And I wouldn't be here in Arizona Western at all. So going to college, that's what helped me connect the dots. Everything that I learned on my own, when I started going to college, it helped me connect the little pieces like, oh, this is why I'm doing this. This is why I'm doing that. And it connected creativity and the storytelling and all of that.
Awesome. And then your sister told you to go to AWC or any community college. Was that in while you were already moved to the United States, or was that still in Mexico when she told you to go to school?
No, I was already here in the U.S. and I couldn't find any jobs here. So I just started working in different things like construction labor, warehouses, but I didn't want to do that. I want to do my stuff, what I like to do.
That makes a lot of sense. Now for context, Arizona Western College is located at a border town to Mexico, and I've talked with Mindy, your supervisor, I believe she is, and she
Yeah,
told me about that you actually have commuter students coming from Mexico going across the border to attend daily. So
correct.
it's another nuance right there to just get the connection a little bit more. But I saw your progression there. You graduated, but then you worked for the Marine Corps Communication Services for a little bit as a multimedia design specialist, right? For about
Yeah,
almost 6 years. Tell me about that a little bit.
yeah. So when I graduated from college, just to give a little bit of context, I got an offer to be a teaching assistant for the computer graphics lab, but it was just like a small position. And then I also got offered a temporary part-time graphic design position here at the marketing and communications, but back then was a completely different team. Only one person from that team is still here, and that person always helped me here, being here. But because those positions were temporary, I had to move out to a full-time position, which I wanted more stuff. I wanted more money too, right?
Mhm.
So I moved to that the MCCS, and I only knew graphic design, but that position required me to know photography, videography, motion graphics, and all of that. So I landed the job, but uh, I needed to learn all of that. So I had to put my effort in outside of work to learn photography and video, and started like playing with those. And I stayed there for like 5, 6 years.
Mhm.
Um, and then little by little, I came back to the college. I got an offer for the adjunct faculty teaching Illustrator, but I was still working at the base. So because that was completely new to me, like the teaching part, and
Mhm.
I feel like that helped me develop some skills that I didn't have back then, like more communication, doing presentation, talking people, sharing the things that I like to do. And little by little, I came back now full time here at the college for the creator director position. And now I'm like completely AWC now. So
Yes,
I don't
yes,
have to jump back and forth, back and forth.
yeah. But you need those years to cut your teeth and get your experience before you advance. So the path is never really straight. It wasn't for me as
Right.
well, and it's still not. One of my side hustles is this podcast, and it's for me to work on my communication skills with less pressure than it would be from a paid position, right? So I'm doing this for free. I'm doing this as my uh, passion project, but it helped me over the years with networking, which is very important for marketing, with speaking in front of a camera, with being comfortable hearing my own voice, because we all hate hearing our own voice at the beginning when we start recording. And now that I've edited over 100 episodes, it's like, it's like, that's my voice. That's what it sounds like. No big deal. Or I don't feel stupid in front of a camera anymore. When you try to convince somebody to start recording video content, there may be a little bit of hesitant to do so because they just don't feel comfortable to do it. But if you keep the repetition, if you keep doing it over and over again, all of a sudden it becomes second nature, and you just become a natural at it. So yeah, I love that recap there about your journey a little bit. Let's go into some of your work from AWC. We've briefly talked about the NCMPR, National Council for Marketing and Public Relations. That's sort of like how we got connected in the first place, because I attended the conference in Seattle. You may have attended, but I don't know if you were there. Yes, you were there. But so in all transparency, I got a list of everybody who attended, and I just started reaching out to people to get them on my show because I wanted to spotlight more community college marketers, which I did. And so every April, I host a community college month for this podcast. But this is how we got to talking about a year and a half ago now. And NCMPR has an award. It's called the Paragon Award. And you and your colleague, Michael Rose, you won a National Paragon Award for a single photo. I want to talk about that a little bit more. What did the image capture, and why do you think it resonated so deeply with the judges and your community?
So, that photo, it wasn't planned at all. Um, and I think it stands out a lot because that photo has a lot of the rich culture of Mexico with the Catrinas.
Mm-hmm.
And before taking the photo, this is an event that the college does every year. And when I first got here, I was designing the poster for that event, and I was trying to look for photos. That I couldn't find any photos, and I really didn't want to use stock images. So I just did it. I had to use it anyway because that I didn't have anything. So I started thinking maybe I should go there and start taking photos so that way I can use for next year, and we can create marketing materials with the photos I take. So when the event came in, I didn't plan this either. I had it on the back of my head. So when the event came here, I had my camera, but I couldn't do it alone. So I started I asked for Mike Rose to help me with because I know he's getting into photography, and I said, "Hey Mike, do you want to take some photos? We can just do it and go there and just see what happens." And I asked another coworker, Janet Avila, because I wanted to carry lights too, not just the photos and taking photos. I had a whole plan, kind of like a mobile photo studio, like carrying lights. And because I know where to place the lights, I needed help with somebody taking the photos. And so they agreed with me, and we went. And at first, the students were, "Who has these people? I don't want my photo with these people." But then, as more people started like getting photo, a lot of students with the Katrina's outfits and everything started like getting excited, and I want my photo too. I want my photo too. So we took a bunch of photos with a lot of lightings, and I don't know, everybody started liking the photo so much. You're like, oh wow! I mean, now I have footage for next year's material, and we share those photos, and we say, hey, let's just submit this, see what happens. And we won the gold medallion on our district, and then because I think it's automatically it goes into the NCMPR Paragon, and then when they won, hey, guess what? We won the gold Paragon. I'm like, oh, cool. I didn't even know what to say, and I mean, that's the whole thing. Like, so now telling you why it's important, me as a designer, because I take photos as a designer, not really too much as a photographer, because I like the pixel peeping. I like really quality photos, and I like the pixels and everything. So I feel that you had to incorporate lighting in your photos. That's very important thing, because that way you can processing, you can mask, you can do a lot of stuff when you have like a super high res photo. And even earlier and this year, we share on a NCMPR magazine council how we took those photos. So I shared the gear, kind of like a briefing, not going into super detail with how you have to have this set in your camera or this. No, just showing you how lights can affect the photo. Because, yeah, just because of how people like the photo. That's why we started sharing a lot more about the photo.
Hey everybody, thanks so much for tuning into the episode today. I hope you're enjoying it so far. This episode is brought to you by StayMates, a full-service marketing agency servicing colleges and universities throughout the country. For more than 40 years, StayMates has helped higher ed institutions strengthen their brands, launch digital campaigns, and drive measurable enrollment growth. From audience research and content strategy to digital design and accessibility, StayMates brings deep expertise and a practical, results-driven approach to every engagement. Looking for a partner who really gets higher education? Learn more at staymates.com. Again, this is staymates.com for more information. And now, back to the episode. Yeah, lighting makes a big difference for visual appeal as well. You know, it's like you can tell that when a bad photo or the angle is wrong or the shadowing is off, it's just not as attractive to the human eye than when it's crisp. So, but yeah, that just a case study in itself, to just go out there amongst the community and just shooting pictures of people and events. You never know what you're going to get out of, and if sometimes you get that money shot where you're where you win certain awards, right, without even planning it. I think when you go out there and try to win an award for anything, and this is your sole aim to do so, there's a lot of pressure on that, and that's when it starts feeling scripted and not authentic. And I think what people are looking for, especially these days, is authenticity. There's another project you're working on currently, or you've worked on. It's called a legacy wall at AWC, and it's not just a mural project. It's a campus identity statement. Where did the idea come from, and how did it come to life?
So that building where the wall is brand new. It's a big building that we have here on campus, and we were getting a tour when there was a construction, and we got a tour, and we saw the wall, and it was a bunch of other the department. We saw there was like, we need a big giant mural in there. We were excited, but we know that that's really expensive.
Mm-hmm.
But here at the college, every year they offer what's it called, innovation fund,
Mm-hmm.
and we kind of had it on the back of the head. Oh, maybe we can submit something like that. And the design inspiration for that is that one of the graphic designers already created a mural in a small room. So
Mm-hmm.
it's just a smaller version, but it looks great, and it has photos of students, real students of that campus. That campus is in San Luis. So the photos that she used for that campus are all people from San Luis. And everybody loved that mural. We have it right there, and everybody loves that mural. So we can just make this on a bigger scale.
Yeah.
And instead of being a student from there, we can do a mix of all the students that we have at the college. But that's still on work. We come up with a couple of challenges, but hopefully we can get that pretty soon, because I'm excited to see that in real life.
And I know that once it's available, you'll be sure to share it on LinkedIn as well. So everybody, make sure you follow.
Oh yeah, believe me, I'm gonna share that a lot.
Yeah, make sure you follow Luis on LinkedIn, so you're the first to see it there. Now, AWC is based near the U.S.-Mexican border, like I said earlier, and you mentioned the Katrina earlier as well. So for everybody who's not aware of it, tell us a little bit more about that, because I watched the movie Coco and I know a little bit about the Day of the Dead, but tell us a little bit more about that cultural heritage with the Katrina and how you bring that unique cultural context into the way you represent a college visually.
So the Katrina is pretty much kind of like a skeleton, a skull with floral and a lot of designs, like Mexican designs, and they do it on the Day of the Dead, El Día de los Muertos. It's a very popular culture that we do it everywhere. So the event was a Katrina contest. So there was a lot of people dressing up as the Katrinas with full outfit, the dresses, the floral culture of Mexico. And we wanted to show that on the photos. We tried to bring the culture in our campus, right? And one of the things that we do that is that we don't like to use stock footage. Stock footage is going to destroy your authenticity in your college. You really need to show the diverse community you have at the college. So we have been really lucky here to have photographers and videographers that they can go out there and capture that spirit of Arizona Western College, because we have a mix here at the college. We have a lot of diversity, and when we took that real photos, you can show it in all of the marketing campaigns that we have. So my recommendation is to go out there and take more photos. If you don't have a photographer, maybe you can start learning photography. It's hard at first, but once you get done with the basics, it gets better, and it's really fun to take photos. I like to take photos a lot. Yeah. And I understand, because there's some, I just saw that there's some colleges that they run smaller teams, maybe even one-person team. But for the majority of the college, they offer professional development, and maybe you can take an opportunity and learn photography. because that's one of the main things that I recommend everybody show what you really have in your college: buildings, people, everything.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense, and I'm personally inspired by that as well because I'm B2B marketing for a marketing agency, and we do a lot of articles, and we use a lot of images to go along with these articles, and they're mainly stock images. We're trying to pick the ones that look more authentic than others, but I we have a designer who's also a freelance photographer on staff, so I'm almost inclined to have him go out into the town and start taking some pictures for us to move away from the stock imagery and make it more authentic. Because what you just said, stock footage will destroy authenticity. That really spoke to me there. Now let's go into your personal journey a little bit more. You wear two hats. You're a creative director, but you're also an instructor, right? How do those two roles influence each other, and how do you bring students into the creative process? Because you just told me earlier you had somebody who wants to learn photography, just go out there with you, photograph the Katrinas.
So, like I told you before, when I was working in a different place and I started teaching, I felt that when that whole new part of my career helped me grow a lot more. And I feel that that experience led me to get into creative director. And now being here as a creative director, I always like to share everything that I know. So I always sharing tips and tricks and to my coworkers. And I feel that being a instructor in the creative field lets me help me connect with them. Like, oh, you can do this with photo, like I did with Mike. Like, starting showing the photography, and now he got his new camera and everything. Like, he's getting hooked on photography now. And now going back to being instructor with the students, I always teach them what I do in my real life work. So, oh, this part that I done here, I did it, and I show an example. I did it like this, and and then they get excited when they see real life projects. And because I remember when I was a student, they only, oh, you have to do this because this is how we done it, like always, right? And that got me into thinking, I don't want to just do that. I want to show them that if you apply this, it can help you do some of this stuff. And then I showed those little things. And I feel that it has become a full circle now where it feeds each other and it helps me too, like being creative director and being instructor, and just go back and forth. And I love both of them.
Yeah, yeah, that in and of itself is a good value proposition for enrollment marketing purposes, to tell the students, the potential students, that part of the faculty is they're in the real world and world practitioners. That's what really drew me to my alma mater at the University of Florida. The people that I work with, most of them had their own businesses, or did the job or do the job on the side that they were teaching as well. So I think that's very important. Sure, if you go theoretically the entire time, you may get easy A's, but then you get thrown to the wolves out there in the real world, and then things look a lot different, right? And your A's really don't matter. Your honor student or honor graduate degree doesn't matter much if you can get the job done. So I really highly recommend having people that are actually doing a job, teaching it as well at the college. Now, community college marketers, they often do more with less. I've heard that during my interviews with community college marketers, so I have a heart for that. But maybe you can shed a little bit of light on what's been key to building an award-winning team and creative output at AWC with not a robust, huge marketing department.
I'll lend it to this team. The team was already built. They're awesome. And even though I only have like 2 years here with this team, they always have made me feel that I belong here. So that's I feel like that. Besides the skills that you have, the talent that you have, making the connection with the team is like it makes the team closer together. And as a creative director, I always try to maintain a positive attitude where we can openly share feedback and celebrate our wins. And and just feed each other like, oh yeah, let's do this, and we won this award. Oh, that's amazing, good job on this, and now they can ask each other, hey, I'm struggling with this. Can you help me out with this design? And because there's some people that they don't like feedback, and some people that they don't even like to ask for feedback. And I feel like having that open space that we can share is like what makes us stronger together and grow as a team. And now going back to doing when you had to wear multiple hats and you had to do more with less, that's not necessarily a bad thing because how I told you before, when I started in working at the Marine base, I only knew graphic design and I needed to do, all the things, photography, video, social media content. And I didn't know anything. So I put my effort in and started learning this, started learning that. So trying to do less, it pushes you. So your brain starts kicking in and it makes you to be creative. And there's that kind of click with something that my dad always has told me. My dad is a retired professor. He always told me that creativity is not taught, it's provoked. So that kind of relates to each other, that you're trying to figure out and you figure out and your brain is like going, oh, I can do it. And then when you do it, and then you start doing more and more and more and more, and then it becomes a skill. And then that's where you start to grow.
You got to break out of your comfort zone, right? Because if you have to take it, because when I worked at my previous job, my main skill was storytelling and writing, but I had to be a solo marketer. I had to do everything, like event marketing, all sorts of stuff that I didn't particularly knew how to do. So I learned by doing, failing early, not being afraid to look like an amateur at the beginning. So that's another way to think about it as well. Just break out of your comfort zone, make the necessary steps to get the job done, and like you said, with time you'll evolve, you get better, and it'll become a skill. What was once something that felt like something you couldn't do. You said something earlier when you said that sometimes we teach things because we've always done it that way, because we've always taught it this way, because it feels safe. How do you push past that safe stuff to create work that feels bold, honest, and community driven?
So here's something that I always tell the students, because it's tough to work in when you work in an organization that it has a well-established brand, it's kind of hard to experiment with new things. So I always tell the students that, you know what, you have, besides outside the class, you need to work on personal projects. Do a flyer for a friend or do photography for somebody that you know. And that's when you're going to start to grow, because if you're only showing what you're doing in an organization, or if you're only doing the work in your class, you're not going to have a personal portfolio, and it's going to be really hard to find a job later. So I'm always trying to say, everybody go, hey, you have to live this creative life, do things around, and even copy other stuff, but outside your class, outside your work, because you can't really copy and then call it your own in your organization, right? So you have to explore in your outside of your career, explore, copy styles at first, and then once you start copying more styles, so trying different things, you start combining all the things that you have done, and then you're starting to come up and develop your own style. And that's very important. So for example, here in our team, we have a graphic designer that does illustration on the side, and they do commissions and everything. It has a very unique style. And that designer has put that style little by little in some of the projects. And she always has an eye, right? And when she sees an opportunity, we have a project that she made like this amazing illustration for a Nutcracker theater event. And that won gold medallion. And then that same illustration won a silver Paragon. And that full thing is her own style. And somehow she sneaked it into the college, and it looks great. Everybody loved that. So that's what you can see, where you have to experiment outside, play around. That's where you can screw up. Nobody cares if you mess up things. And then once you see that an opportunity, you will be ready. And so you can start applying that and try it out. And if you like it, then there you go. That's where you start to kind of like try new things and on organizations. That's how I always has done it too.
Awesome. As we land this plane, let's say there's a higher ed marketer listening to this show, or somebody's going to run into you at the next NCMPR conference, whether it's regional or national. What's one advice you have for other creators in higher ed who want to lead more boldly, especially at small or under-resourced institutions?
You know what? I'm going to share two quotes that I really stuck with me. One is for John Fonseca. He said in one of your podcasts, you need to fail fast to succeed sooner. That really kind of hit. Like, that's true. It kind of matches what I was telling you. You go out and try new things, and you're going to fail. It's part of the process. And the other quote is from Carrie Fisher. And there's a quote, I think it's original for him, that said, stay afraid, but do it anyway. So put out yourself out there. Speak up more your ideas. Share your projects. Share your stuff in social media. So, for example, as a creative, as a designer, sometimes we always work behind the scenes so much that we like a little corner. And we don't want to go out and, we just want to do the things that we like to do. But when you start sharing things, it will open opportunities. And for example, for me, is this podcast. I'm really nervous. Sometimes I don't speak that well. And the imposter syndrome is really kicking in right now, but I'm doing it anyway. So if this could be, if I fail, then I'm going to succeed later in a different podcast. I don't know what could happen. So put out yourself out there more, share your work. That's my advice I have for everybody.
Well, let me just tell you did a fine job during this podcast, and thank you so much for stepping out of your comfort zone to doing this, because I really enjoyed this conversation. And I know that the audience enjoys this as well. And I know you're going to get a lot of good feedback from your community for doing this for them. Tell us a little bit about Arizona Western College and how people can connect with you after the show.
So for Arizona Western College, you can follow on our socials, Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn. If you want to see the student part, our biggest one is Instagram. If you want to see our employers and faculty part of it, is LinkedIn. And Facebook is a mix of both, more of parents and stuff, more on Facebook. But students, Instagram, LinkedIn for the adults, us. And so, yeah. And for me, my LinkedIn, I'm trying to stay active on my LinkedIn. And my Instagram, I only use it for weird things and art and drawings and, the Explorer thing that I was talking about. Uh-huh. And my LinkedIn is where I show the stuff that we have done here at the college as well.
Very good. I'll be sure to tag you in the recap as well as Arizona Western College so people can check it out a little bit more. Luis, thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate you, and I really enjoyed this conversation.
Thank you so much for having me. I enjoyed this too. Even though I'm nervous, I really enjoy it.
You did very well. Thank you, man.
See ya.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
And that's a wrap for this episode, everybody. Thank you so much for tuning in to Education Marketing Leader Podcast this week. If you enjoyed this episode, be sure to share it with your friends and your network. And if you ever thought about starting your own podcast, now that you listen to one and you got inspired, reach out to me via DM. We'd love to help you launch your own. We'll take care of everything for you, the scripting, the strategy, the editing, the distribution. All you have to do is show up, connect with your audience, and build your personal brand. So if you're ready for it, let's chat. And for everybody else, we'll see you next time at the Education Marketing Leader Podcast. Take care, friends.